Florida voter. Can you help me with a pro-life petition? Well, we want to define a person is a human being from the moment of their biological beginning. And maybe 1 out of every 15 people will want to read it. So then you hand them the form, and they can read it, and then they fill it out. And just when they hand it back to you, it's good to just kind of review over it, make sure they filled everything, because sometimes people are in a hurry. They just kind of skim over some stuff. But it's very easy, and every time you're out petitioning, you really do get chances to talk to people. And you can ask them, you know, do you have any prayer requests? Can I pray with you today? And a lot of people, some people really, that's a great way to reach out to people, and people respond to that. And it's just a really good way to witness to people through your petition.
After you get your circle of influence, after you get your family, your tribe of folks, all the people that you know, and you ask them to sign, you've got to go get strangers. You've got to go where public people are. Now, what does this look like to you? A newspaper. This is no longer a newspaper. What this is an invitation list, an invitation for you. This is not just a newspaper, it's an invitation for you to come petitioning at events. In here it will have advertised the auctions, the estate sales, the Pineapple Festival coming up this weekend, the craft show, the gun show, the Little League soccer schedule at the soccer fields, all the events that are coming up. And most weekly or daily newspapers, on Thursdays they'll have a weekend guide. So on Thursday you buy that and you say, what's coming up this weekend? Oh, they've got a concert coming up at the Civic Center downtown. Great. It starts at 7 o'clock. Great. We get there at 5:30 and ask everybody for an hour and a half on their way in, and then the concert starts and we're done. Okay, so let's say that people say, yes, I'll sign your petition. You'll say, great, there you go. Now on here it says, please print name as it appears on your voter information card. If their name is Robert and they want to sign Bobby, say, can you please print your name the way it appears on your voter card? Middle initial or middle name included. So after they agree to sign, you put the pen in their hand and you give them one of these clipboards, my high-tech professional instruments here. So otherwise known as a grape box. So, and you put 5 or 10 or 20 blank little petitions on each one with a rubber band, and you give it to them. And then while they're signing it, and they're almost done, say, listen, we're trying to get a lot of signatures. Can you please help us? Do you have any friends that are pro-life? What church do you go to? Is your church doing the petition drive yet? And try and get more people to help. And if they say yes, say, great. Can I get your name and email or phone number so I can call and follow up? Or, you know what, there's a gun show next Saturday. Can you come and help for an hour before it starts? And get people's contact information that way. And then when they give it back to you when they're done, thank them and look to see that everything's filled in. We've got to have a voter registration number or a date of birth on the petition. That's about it for how to do the petition drive. Make sure the cardboard's a little bit bigger than the paper. Also, here's something that I like to do is while people are signing, I like to ask them if they have any prayer requests. I like to ask them, say, hey, you know, if something were to happen to us, do you know if you'd go to heaven or not? Do you know what it takes to get to heaven? Well, let me tell you about Jesus. Have you been born again? Are you trusting Christ for salvation? I like to do that with people. That's a lot of fun for me. Or if they're having a rough time, hey, is it okay if I just pray with you for a minute? I'm a believer in Christ, and I know that He hears and answers prayers. Would you like that if I just prayed with you for a moment? You have my complete, total permission to pray with people, to talk to them about Jesus, to invite them to your church, to invite them to your pro-life group, whatever is great, okay? And while you're out petitioning, what you can say is you can say, the candidate that I'm working for is the only candidate in the race that's pro-life. What happens on a petition drive like this is the politicians hate it. Most of them do. There's a few good ones out there. like Bob Smith, who's running for the U.S. Senate. He's already endorsed this, and we didn't even know he was out there asking to, but he's endorsed it. But what happens is legislators, they can call themselves pro-life because they vote to have a Choose Life license plate. Meanwhile, children are getting murdered. Well, now we're raising the tide because we're changing the definition of pro-life from a license plate to recognizing legal protection for all innocent children, for all the preborn. So the definition is changing, and the whole pro-life tide is rising. And it's going to be exciting. It'll be a fun thing to get involved in that. Okay, when you're done with them, collect them, mail them to the address here in Port St. Lucie. On the bottom is a thing for if you're a professional paid petitioner. This is 100% grassroots volunteer effort. Nobody in Personhood Florida is paid. Nobody in Personhood USA is paid. We're all volunteer missionaries just like you. And we can do this. Folks, in Colorado, we set the state record for the number of volunteer signatures turned in. We set the state record for the number of churches involved in a petition drive. And we did that without any national organization supporting us, and some of them even opposing us, because people are hungry for it. People are hungry to end the killing. And if you'll just go and talk to them, they'll sign up. They'll get involved. They'll help out. I'd encourage you to network. Find out who goes where to what church in the county, and make sure every church in the county, somebody sits down with the leadership of the church and says, here's what it is. Can we show up and to do it? Some churches, for reasons of their own, like they don't believe this is what Christians should do, that it's politics and politics are dirty, so they're not going to do that. Number one, this is not politics. This is morality. This is life and death. Some other churches, they're not pro-life. Well, then the definition of church comes into question then there, doesn't it? But even if you have pro-life people that go to some church that's not pro-life, that individual, they're the church coordinator for their church. And they can call everybody in their church and either mail them this or see them in the parking lot after church and get their signatures. And they can still mobilize. And that way, if we find out the Bill Gaither trio or whatever, the Gaithers are coming to sing at your local arena, then that way you can email all the church coordinators and say the Gaithers are coming, or there's a football game at such and such a school, or there's a big festival coming up on Saturday. We could use 10 or 20 people to show up. How many can help? And that way each church coordinator can disseminate that email or make those phone calls to the volunteers in their church who will help out. Okay, and sometimes it helps to have a little sign like this. If it's a big crowd and they're streaming past you fast, it helps to make just a little sign that says pro-life petition, or you can just put one on the back of here, and then while people are walking up and talking to you, you're holding it like this. And so other pro-life people will come and see this. You don't have to be with these when people sign them. Okay, it helps better with quality control. But what else you could do is, like if you go to the grocery store, and you see somebody with a pro-life bumper sticker or a Christian symbol there, or maybe a rosary from the rearview mirror, something that would identify them as possibly pro-life, great, stick one of these under their windshield. Don't do everybody in a parking lot, because a pro-abort will see his and go and steal everyone and pull it off and throw it away in its litter. Don't do that. Okay, but go ahead and do some for targeted things like that. Try and get permission from the churches first. Get their hearts. Get them on board. Go to the pregnancy help centers. Okay? Go to the Christian schools. Go to the Christian radio stations. Go to the Christian hospital. Go to people that are already pro-life and pick the low-hanging fruit first. Pick the easy ones first. Get these people on board. Share with them with excitement. Folks, show some zeal. Show some commitment for it. I grew up in the state of Wisconsin where they had the famous theologian Vince Lombardi. And yeah, I'm teasing. But he said this, and it's very true. He said, you'll either be fired with enthusiasm for your job, or you'll be fired with enthusiasm from your job. A lot of people will sign simply because you're nice to them. The way to get other people to volunteer is not to say, oh, come on, you have to do that, but say, this is exciting and fun. It's a great opportunity to serve the Lord and save babies' lives. It's a wonderful way to go. You can notice that these are 2 to a piece of typing paper, 8.5 by 11. But if you circulate the petition before they're cut, you've committed a misdemeanor. Or if you have it circulated and then you cut it, the person who cuts it has committed a misdemeanor. So what we're going to do is on the website, you can download and print it off, but it's going to be 1 per page. If you want to print these off, the best way to do it is we will send you an email. Our webmasters, they will send you an email with a PDF file that you can either print off yourself, or you go and you forward that email to Kinko's or Office Depot and you say, you know, print me off 100 of these or 1,000 of these. And then here's a couple bucks extra to cut them. And then when you circulate them, you have to circulate them half sheet like this at a time. Also, what we're going to develop, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get it done on time, but we're going to have a little flyer that talks about it. Twice as big as a business card. So what it is you'll be able to print 4 to a page. Like on a risograph, they're 1/5 of a penny a piece if you do it that way. And it'll be one side. And all it'll say is, shouldn't the law protect every innocent person? Yes. Shouldn't every baby in Florida be protected by love and by law? Yes. Sign and circulate the Florida Personhood Amendment. Phone number, website. And when people sign, you give them one of those. Pass them out. Oh, I'm not a Florida voter. Oh, are you pro-life? Yeah. Here, please sign up on the website because you can help us too. And we would like literally millions of those to be spread everywhere. Develop your own sources for printing. Develop your own donors to get the flyers and the petitions printed off. Maybe your neighbor lady's just a stay-at-home accountant, but she's got a photocopier. Say, hey, Hazel, can I get 100 free copies from you every week for petitions? Hey, the church that's going to do it, can you help me out with this? Get them going that way so the cost is spread around and not such a burden on individuals that way. The message of the campaign is the humanity of the babies. The message of the campaign is not, why is this political party not on board? Why is this ecclesiastical official not on board? Why do these people say bad timing, bad language? That's not the message of the campaign. We're not fighting those people. We're just moving forward. We're just going to get the job done, and they'll change. Some of them will change their minds and get on board later. And then we have 2 words for them. Welcome aboard. Not, well, you're bad. No. We're not going to criticize or be negative at all. The message of the campaign is the humanity of the babies. And we do it for the glory of Christ. We do it for Him. These are His babies, and He loves them more than we ever could. C. Edmund Burke, he was the British member of Parliament during the American War for Independence. He was the one that led the charge saying, just let the colonies go and let's trade with them and make money. We don't need to be fighting them. He's the guy that made this statement famous. All that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. But he made a better statement that I really like. No one makes a greater mistake than he who did nothing because he could only do a little. Maybe you don't have time or money to dedicate to this, but can you just give 1 hour a month or 1 hour a week outside of the Friday night football game when they need a bunch of people? Can you send this? Can you email the link to this, to Personhood Florida, to your email list? Can you make 5 phone calls? Can you talk to 5 neighbors about this and get them going on it? Some pastors, they'll ignore you right away and they won't return your phone call. But after they get 50 or 100 phone calls, especially of a big church, they'll say, let me check this out. Let me see what's going on. Let's see if we can get them on board. Some people will say, bad timing, bad language. I like to quote what the civil rights movement said, wait means never. And also what we're doing is we're going to send letters to the pro-life groups, to the politicians, and to the ecclesiastical leadership of all the state, asking them 3 questions. Number 1, what legal language do you propose to protect all innocent preborn Floridians? Number 2, what's your plan to implement this language? Number 3, what can we do to help you? No other groups ever have come up with language. And so therefore, if they just throw mud at us, then they're just mud throwers. Then people will see them for what they are. They don't really want to get serious about any of the killing. They're just sitting around hoping maybe if they regulate it, maybe somehow, maybe it'll go away someday. That's not good enough for the babies, is it? We need to get down to the root of the matter. We need to give mom and pop something to fight for. We need to get Bubba out of his bass boat and out working on this and ending the child killing and working for it. Folks, we can do this, and we can do it peacefully if you'll help, if you'll get on board, if you'll do what you can.